away they go first time, and Tebogo's well into his running, as is Nkrumah. But look at Tebogo in the middle. It's Tebogo. He's turning round.
Everyone remembers the finish line. But what if the moment that changed everything happened 20 meters before it? When Letsile Tebogo turned mid-race, smiled at his rival, and still broke a world record. It wasn't just speed that made headlines. It was attitude. And behind that smile was a story no one expected. Earlier that year, Tebogo had already made history by becoming the first Botswana to break the 10-second barrier, clocking 9.96 seconds at the Gaborone International Meet. That moment put him on the radar. But it was just the beginning. When he stepped onto the track at the Senior World Championships in Eugene, Oregon, he again lowered the U20 record to 9.94 seconds. Many started comparing him to a young Usain Bolt, but few expected what would happen in Cali. The buildup was intense, and fans across the globe had their eyes glued to the screen, wondering if this young talent could truly deliver under pressure. In the 100-meter final at Estadio Olímpico Pascual Guerrero, the tension was electric. As the starter's gun fired, Tebogo exploded out of the blocks, instantly creating separation from the rest of the field. By the halfway mark, it was clear he was in a league of his own. And then, with just 20 meters to go, he did something that would make global headlines. He turned to his Jamaican rival, pointed, smiled, and cruised across the line. The clock read 9.91 seconds, and the crowd erupted. Tebogo had just broken his own world record while putting on a show. What made it even more thrilling was that he looked like he was having fun, almost like he was toying with the idea of how much faster he could have gone.
Turning round and gesticulating at the opposition 40 meters out. That is a truly astonishing performance.
People weren't just talking about the time. They were talking about confidence, the flair, and the personality. It was the kind of moment that reminded everyone of Usain Bolt's iconic 2008 Olympic run, where he coasted across the finish line while pounding his chest. Tebogo later admitted it was intentional, saying, "I wanted the fans to enjoy it. It was a show and a reminder of what Bolt used to do." But this mid-race celebration had critics too. Some felt it was disrespectful to his competitors. Tebogo didn't shy away from the controversy, addressing it head-on. "If somebody took it as disrespect, I'm really sorry. That wasn't my intention. I just wanted to enjoy the moment." It sparked a broader debate about showmanship versus sportsmanship in track and field, and whether Tebogo had crossed the line or simply revived the sport's entertainment factor. The discussion spilled over onto social media, where fans passionately debated the fine line between confidence and cockiness. What made the moment even more shocking was the realization that he could have gone even faster. Analysts speculated that, had Tebogo run straight through the line without celebrating, he might have clocked somewhere around 9.80 seconds or faster, putting him in the same territory as Olympic finalists. But Tebogo wasn't chasing numbers that day. He was chasing impact. His ability to inject personality into a race, to blend entertainment with elite performance, was something the sport had been missing since Bolt's retirement. His performance in Cali didn't just earn him gold, it announced his arrival on the global stage. That same week, he went on to win silver in the 200 meters, clocking an astonishing 19.96 seconds. It was a rare feat for a junior athlete to show such dominance across both sprint distances, and it caught the attention of track coaches and analysts worldwide. Even more impressive was the consistency he maintained throughout the competition, proving that his explosive talent wasn't just a one-time phenomenon.
Record, look at the time, 19.96. Tebogo is given the same time, but he's beaten by 6.
Tebogo's rise wasn't an overnight phenomenon. He was born on June 7, 2003, in Kanye, Botswana, a small town with limited resources but big dreams. From a young age, he showed promise in athletics, dominating local meets before moving on to national and continental competitions. His breakthrough came in 2021 when he won gold in the 100 meters at the African U20 Championships. But even then, few could have predicted how quickly he'd climb the ranks. In 2023, Tebogo proved that his Cali performance was no fluke. He secured a silver medal in the 100 meters and a bronze in the 200 meters at the World Championships in Budapest. He consistently lowered his times and maintained his dominance despite stepping into races filled with seasoned senior athletes. It was clear he wasn't just a junior phenom, he was a world-class sprinter in the making. His relentless work ethic and focused mindset became the blueprint for young athletes back home, who saw in him not just a champion, but a symbol of what was possible. The biggest breakthrough, however, came in 2024 at the Paris Olympics. In the 200 meters final, Tebogo shocked the world by winning gold and setting a new African record of 19.46 seconds. That performance not only gave Botswana its first Olympic gold medal, but also placed Tebogo among the fastest men in history. His celebration was a little more subdued this time, but the message was the same. Tebogo had arrived, and he wasn't going anywhere. His success has sparked a sprinting revolution in Botswana. Young athletes now see Tebogo as proof that world-class excellence is possible, regardless of where you come from. Government officials and private sponsors have started investing more heavily in athletics infrastructure, hoping to nurture the next generation of talent. The nation that once watched from the sidelines now sees itself at the center of the global athletics conversation. Beyond the medals and records, Tebogo is also winning fans for his humility and maturity. He speaks openly about the pressure of comparisons to Bolt, saying he's not trying to copy anyone, just be the best version of himself. Bolt is Bolt, he said. I just want to run my own race. And so far, that race has been nothing short of extraordinary. In interviews, he emphasizes gratitude and discipline, often crediting his family and coaches for keeping him grounded. As we look ahead, the possibilities for Tebogo seem limitless. He's still in his early 20s, meaning he could dominate for at least another 2 Olympic cycles. Sponsors are lining up, track fans are following his every move, and competitors are watching their backs. There's a sense that we are witnessing the beginning of a new sprinting era, one led by a young man who not only runs fast, but makes every race unforgettable. The 9.91 run in Cali wasn't just a record, it was a moment that changed everything. It turned a promising teenager into a global star. And if Tebogo's trajectory continues, we might one day look back and realize that smile at the 80-meter mark was just the beginning. If this blew your mind, just wait. Tebogo's story is only getting started. Hit that like button if you think he's the next sprinting legend, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping stories from the world of sports. Who should we cover next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're reading every one.
Potomac, Maryland, this is Quincy Wilson.
What can we not say about this youngster? He runs with the maturity of someone a decade older than him.
How fast would a 17-year-old have to run to break records, stun Olympic coaches, and make the world stop and watch? Quincy Wilson didn't just answer that question. He shattered every expectation in his path. What he did on the track left even veteran athletes speechless, and it might just change the sport forever. At just 17 years old, Quincy Wilson has already shaken the very foundation of track and field. In an age where most teens are navigating high school drama and homework, this kid is rewriting history with every blistering step on the track. From humble beginnings to global headlines, Wilson's rise is as electrifying as his record-breaking sprints. Quincy Wilson's journey began in Chesapeake, Virginia. Recognizing his talent early, his parents, Monique and Roy Wilson, made a game-changing move, relocating to Gaithersburg, Maryland so he could attend the elite Bullies School in Potomac. Bullis isn't just any high school. Known for its powerhouse track program, it became Quincy's launching pad. Surrounded by top-tier coaching and fierce competition, he flourished. Every practice, every race was another step toward making history. By age 14, Quincy wasn't just participating, he was dominating. He racked up his 5th AAU Junior Olympic title in the 400 meters with a scorching time of 47.77 seconds. For context, that's faster than many collegiate athletes. His early performances hinted at something special, but even his coaches couldn't predict just how far he'd go. As his times dropped, the hype surged. Track insiders whispered his name as the next big thing. He wasn't just racing other teens, he was chasing records, and with every finish line he crossed, his story became more and more surreal. If 2023 was the year Quincy got noticed, 2024 was when he exploded into the spotlight. In March, he obliterated the under-18 indoor world best in the 400 meters. clocking a jaw-dropping 45.76 seconds. That time didn't just make headlines, it made history. And then came Gainesville.
To stay calm under pressure. Talking to him right before he qualified for the Olympics, he talked about missing a little bit of training because his sister was in the hospital.
In July, Wilson lined up for the 400 meters again, this time on the outdoor track. The result? An earth-shattering 44.20 seconds. That wasn't just the best time for someone his age, it was one of the fastest ever run by anyone in the world that year. The track community went wild. Social media lit up. Suddenly, a high schooler from Maryland was on the radar of every sports outlet across the globe. Even seasoned professionals were stunned. Coaches, analysts, and Olympic legends began dissecting his form, his pacing, his stride length. What they saw was a rare combination of raw talent and polished technique, something usually seen only in elite adults at the peak of their careers. Despite a strong showing, Quincy finished 6th at the U.S. Olympic trials in the 400 meter. That might have ended the Olympic dream for most, but Team USA had other plans. Recognizing his talent and potential, they selected him for the men's 4x400 meter relay team heading to Paris. That decision made Quincy the youngest male track athlete ever to represent the U.S. at the Olympics. He would go on to help the American 4x400 meter relay squad earn gold at the Stade de France, competing in the heats ahead of the event's final. He wasn't just tagging along for the ride. Quincy earned his place. His training sessions leading up to the Olympics were intense. His coaches pushed him, not because he was a kid with potential, but because he was now seen as a critical asset to the team. Quincy didn't flinch. He rose to the challenge. At the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris, Quincy lined up for the preliminary heat of the 4x400 meter relay. The stakes were sky high, and all eyes were on the teenage phenom. As the opening leg runner, Quincy set the tone for the team. Though he faced stiff competition and early nerves, he held his ground and helped secure a spot in the final.
What a finish from the 16-year-old!
So he's going to have to rely on time. Right now, he is the top of the bubble and looking very good for a chance in the final.
Bryce Deadman gets the win over Vernon Norwood. Woo! The crowd know what they just saw.
And that's because that's...
Though he didn't run in the final itself, Olympic rules ensure that any athlete who participates in the heats gets a medal if their team wins. And that's exactly what happened. Team USA took gold in the final, and just like that, Quincy Wilson became the youngest male Olympic gold medalist in track and field history.
Team Quincy Wilson had a very different goal. And today he became the youngest male track competitor in U.S.
The moment was surreal. Standing on the Olympic stage, even in the background, was more than a dream. It was a statement. Quincy had arrived, and the world was officially on notice. What sets Quincy apart isn't just his times, it's his mindset. He's remarkably poised for his age, with a calm confidence that's rare in elite sports. Off the track, he's grounded, articulate, and thoughtful. On it, he's a beast. No gold medal. None of that is on my mind, he said. When I'm practicing, I'm worrying about my future goals, nothing in the past. I can't go and change what I've done. After his Olympic run, he quickly became a media sensation. Viral interviews, highlight reels, and social media shout-outs from A-list celebrities flooded in. Jay-Z even reached out to meet him. For a teenager, this could be overwhelming. But Quincy stayed focused, always turning the spotlight back on his team, his coaches, and the support system that got him here. He's also started mentoring younger athletes, kids not much younger than himself. He shows up to youth clinics, answers DMs from aspiring runners, and talks openly about the pressures of competing at a high level. Quincy isn't just breaking records. He's breaking down barriers and building a community. With high school still on his plate, Quincy's balancing AP classes and global fame, but his goals are crystal clear. He's got his eyes set on more than just track glory. He wants to be remembered not only as a champion, but as someone who inspired the next generation of athletes. College recruiters are knocking, sponsorship offers are rolling in, and the world is watching. But Quincy's not slowing down. He's already training for the next big milestone, aiming to compete individually at the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. If history is any guide, he won't just be there, he'll be a favorite. And yet, despite everything, Quincy remains remarkably humble. He still calls his parents before every race, still does his own laundry, still reminds people he's just a kid who loves to run. That grounded spirit might be his most powerful trait. What makes Quincy's story so compelling isn't just the medals or the records, it's the heart behind the hustle. He trains with humility, competes with passion, and lives with purpose. In a world often obsessed with overnight fame, Quincy's rise is a powerful reminder that real greatness comes from dedication and grit. He's not just inspiring young athletes, he's redefining what's possible at every age. Quincy Wilson destroyed the 400 meters, not just with his speed, but with his story. From a determined kid in Virginia to an Olympic gold medalist before his 18th birthday, he's living proof that age is just a number and limits are meant to be broken. Keep your eyes on Quincy Wilson, because if you think he's done making history, think again. This 17-year-old is just getting started. If stories like this blow your mind, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We've got even more unbelievable athlete stories coming your way. No one expected a high school junior to break one of the fastest records in U.S. track history, but when the clock stopped, the entire stadium was in shock. How did a 17-year-old run a time that even Olympians struggle to reach? A 17-year-old just ran 9.92 seconds in the 100-meter dash, and that single race changed everything we thought we knew about high school sprinting. For decades, breaking 10 seconds in the 100 meters was considered the ultimate barrier for junior athletes. It was rare, almost mythical. In 2014, Trayvon Brommel, as a college freshman, became one of the first U20 sprinters to break the 10-second barrier, running 9.97 at the NCAA championships. That mark stood not just as a record, but as a symbol of what was barely achievable at that age. Until recently, only a handful of juniors had ever dipped below 10 seconds, and none had done it in high school competition.
It's Christian Coleman who's coming to the front, and Brommel is trying to hold him off, and Brommel comes away again. It's going to be Brommel who's getting it from Cali, 9.93.
But in April 2024, Christian Miller shook up the sprinting world when he ran 9.93, breaking the national high school record and becoming the face of the new era of young speedsters. That record felt untouchable. It was fast, clean, and set against world-class competition at the Olympic trials. Everyone thought it would stand for years, maybe even a generation.
That went 993.
Then came May 3rd, 2025. At the UIL Class 6A State Championships in Austin, Texas, the track world witnessed something truly extraordinary. Tate Taylor, a junior from Harlan High School, lined up against one of the most stacked fields in high school history. One of the early favorites, Braden Williams, had already run an extremely fast wind-dated time, faster than any high schooler ever under those conditions.
There's a wind-legal 9.92 by Tate Taylor.
And yet, when the race started, it was Taylor who stole the show. Exploding out of the blocks with perfect form and unshakable focus, he surged ahead and never looked back. When he crossed the line, the clock read 9.92 seconds. Legal wind, national record, and second fastest U20 time in world history.
Here comes Tate Taylor. They're neck and neck. There goes Tate Taylor. I told you Tate Taylor was one that can.
Just like that, Christian Miller's historic 9.93 was no longer the standard. Tate Taylor had redefined it. But what makes this even more shocking is the trajectory that brought Taylor to this moment. In 2023, as a freshman, his best 100-meter time was 10.59. Solid, but far from historic. The next year, he dropped it to 10.28 and finished runner-up at state. Most athletes would be thrilled with that kind of progress. But Taylor wasn't done. In 2025, everything came together. His training intensified, his confidence matured, and the results, unthinkable. His 9.92 wasn't just a PR, it was a milestone, the second fastest time by any junior in history, behind only Botswana's Letsile Tebogo, who ran 9.91 and went on to win Olympic gold. It was also one of the fastest 100-meter times in the world so far this year, especially among juniors. That alone would have been enough to seal his name in history. But Taylor wasn't finished. Just hours after his jaw-dropping 100 meters, he stepped back on the track for the 200-meter final. You'd think fatigue would slow him down. Not even close. He clocked an unreal 20.14 seconds, smashing the Texas state meet record and landing third all-time on the U.S. high school list. Only legends like Noah Lyles and Roy Martin have run faster in high school.
And that, watch the clock, folks.
This is going to be, did he ease?
I don't know. They didn't stop the clock, unfortunately, so we can't gawk at it right now.
I mean, we're looking
Not
at
yet.
it across the field. If he eased, he might not have, but
20.14.
And here's the kicker. Taylor still has another year of high school left,